Ten Hag sacked.
Oh boy.
As manager of Bayer Leverkusen, he said this: the decision came as a complete surprise. To part ways with a manager after just 2 league matches is unprecedented. A new coach deserves the space to implement his vision, set the standards, shape the squad and leave his mark on the style of play. Throughout my career, every season I've been able to see through to the end as a coach has brought success. Juls, still with Jules, you must do something really wrong to get sacked after 2 games.
Yeah, 62 days. I mean, 99 days since he was announced, 62 days since he started working on July 1st. I mean, you know how much I don't rate him anyway, so I was delighted.
No, I can't be delighted. Don't be delighted a man loses his job, Jules. Come on.
No. It's not for him losing his job. It's for people realizing how bad he is as a coach. I mean, to sack him after 60 days, Bayer Leverkusen must have think, yeah, we got this one really, really wrong. So it's not about him losing his job. Of course, that's not nice. But for people to realize that he should have never got the job in the first place, Dan. This is it, because he says in his statement, you know, it's too early. How can you make a decision? No, you can't make a decision like that, because they've seen you working for 2 months and they've realized that you were just not up for the level and the standard that they wanted. And it's a tough time because they obviously lost a lot of key players. It's a transition time, new signings, all of that. I get it. But he was just never, even if they'd kept all their stars like Wirtz and Shaka and Tan, whoever you wanted, Frimpong, he was never the guy anyway. He's just not good enough for that kind of level.
Smacks to me like players have been summoned in to have a cup of tea
Right.
with certain individuals and been asked about the manager. And the word clueless has probably raised its head a few times, and they've gone, and they've probably watched the training and some of the games, and the pre-season was a bit horrendous as well when they had that embarrassing loss to
Some Brazilian team, under 20 team.
the under.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know, come to you. I know you get it.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah, I mean, but it is, you know, that is a quick exit. But in all fairness, sometimes you have to admire that. You don't want to see anybody lose their job, but sometimes you have to admire a club that admit that they've got it wrong and they make a decision swiftly and they move on, which not a lot do. What are you laughing at?
What next, Jules?
For Ten Hag, just going back to his garden in Holland,
And it's
for
interesting,
them,
if you take
like Greg said, at least...
If you take a look at now, Ten Hag's lost his job, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's lost his job, and Jose Mourinho has lost his job as well. You go to Manchester United, it clearly is the start of something not great in your life.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Ruben Amorim needs to make it work now, because whatever comes next for him is going to be a disaster, clearly, based on this list where only Ralf Rangnick, and to be fair, he's doing a decent job with Austria. It's not amazing either. And David Moyes coming back to Everton and obviously had a positive impact, as we know. For the rest, it's been an absolute disaster class since they left the club, really. And in the same week, for Solskjaer, Mourinho and Ten Hag to all lose their job as ex-Manchester United manager is pretty incredible.
VAR, who was supposed to, Mr. Salisbury, who was supposed to be in charge of VAR in the Liverpool match, was taken off that.
Yeah,
Why
did the referee not get called to the monitor here?
You've almost answered my question. Why is Rob Jones not being punished as well? Because surely as a referee going over to the monitor, you have the ultimate say and you should have belief in your ability as an official to say, no, I'm going to say...
Well, they just don't have... It seems on the face of it happens very rarely. I think Michael Oliver, I mean, going back a year or 18 months, did it at Nottingham Forest. You could probably count in one hand over the last 3 or 4 years since VAR's been around how many times the referees have just got together and agreed. But maybe it's hard to blame Michael Salisbury for calling him to the monitor. I mean, I know that sounds a little silly, but he probably thought, well, maybe we should just let the on-field referee make this decision, let him have a look at it. But then the referee himself, you know, this is the problem with over-sanitising the game. And this has been the big worry about technology, is when you start to go back and look at every nook and cranny, you'll find something. You'll find something. And it is, and it always has been, and it always will be, a contact sport. Now, if it was I think it was Chalobah, was it?
I think
yes.
so, yeah.
Mooney is on Chalobah. I think if Chalobah was in possession of the ball and Muniz steps on him like that, then it's a free kick.
Yeah.
It's a free kick. But he's in control of the ball. He's in the act of trying to turn his body and get the ball under control. It is an unfortunate circumstance that sometimes, you knock into a player. And I think the worry is the referees don't understand what they're looking at.
Right.
And the over-sanitisation of the game is starting to frustrate people, where we're looking at all these minute contacts in the middle of the field and dragging a good goal back 60 or 70 yards. That's the worry.
The thing is, like, obviously, when it was brought in, clear and obvious, egregious. You shouldn't have to be going, oh, is that a foul? Is it not a foul? A foul should be clear. It's a foul, bish, bash, bosh. Get on with your life.
The thing is, for me, I actually don't have an issue with the VAR here.
Right.
How many times have we seen incidents on the field that go ignored and say, well, at least the VAR should call the referee over to have a look? Now, Jones is the referee. He's in charge of the game. He is the head man throughout. And just as he is empowered and entitled to ignore a linesman's flag, he is entitled and empowered to ignore a VAR calling him over to the screen. Just because he gets called over doesn't mean that he has to change his decision. He is the head of this refereeing team, let's call it. And so for me, the responsibility falls squarely on him. Now, to Craig's point, we can probably count on one hand in the time that VAR has been instituted, that a referee's gone over, had a look and said, no, I'm happy with my decision. But that's down to the PGMOL and how they handle those relationships. And let's get away from this high bar and all that nonsense. The referee is in charge of the game. Just because the VAR calls you over to have a look doesn't mean that you have to change your decision. This is on the referee. I think he should take 99% of the blame that's going around here.
Problem is, Jules, you've got two referees that are apparently some of the best in England who don't know what a foul is.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Rob Jones doesn't referee in 2 weeks' time for like game week 4 of the Premier League. We don't know yet who's going to referee those games, but I don't think it would be. I think there would be a sanction. I mean, how many times has Howard Webb had to call a club or a manager, whoever he calls, I don't know exactly who he calls, to apologise for another mistake made by all these incompetent referees? It's embarrassing. Really, it's embarrassing. And I mean, yeah, you apologise to Fulham and Marco Silva, but that goal could change everything in that game, and Fulham can win, and it's a very different story then. So even those apologies doesn't mean anything. I just hope we get to, when they do this show with Howard Webb and Michael Owen, I think, from the Premier League, where he explains the decision, and then we can hear sometimes the transcript or read the transcript of what the two referees said to each other, the VAR one and the one on the field. This would be very interesting to see, but that was just a pathetic mistake.
By the way, when they talk about the previous incumbent in this role, Mike Riley, who was a bit of a strange cookie, right? And he wouldn't go on TV and do all that, and didn't seem to be very, very strong, right? And the refereeing standards were poor. But Howard Webb was going to come in, bit more up front, bit more in your face, bit more confident, certainly was a better referee. He was going to sort it out. He has not. I don't give two hoots if he goes on TV at the Premier League and explains it. Nobody gives a damn. Just get the decisions right. Get your referees sorted. Don't worry about FaceTime on telly. Just make better decisions. And if you can't work the referees into making better decisions, then he'll have to step down. Because the same mistakes are happening under Howard Webb that happened under Mike Riley, who was absolutely pilloried from each corner of the ring. And yet, Howard Webb, it seems to me, is getting a little smidge of a pass because he's gone on TV and they're explaining it. Nobody cares. The clubs don't care if you're explaining it. The damage is done, and the damage is done by very, very poor officiating.
And while we're focusing on one error here, I thought Fulham were the victims of two egregious errors by refereeing in that game, and which knocked the stuffing out of them. The second, again, Chelsea's second goal should have been disallowed. That knocked the stuffing out of Fulham and killed it as a contest. So we're focusing on one, but I feel Fulham have a lot more to be angry about. And just in terms of the VAR, again, I have no problem with them calling the referee over every time there's any kind of doubt. Where I think people get frustrated is the referee goes over and has to look at about 10 replays of every single incident. And that's where the bulk of the time is lost. Not in the amount of times he's getting called over, but when he does get there, that is taking 3-4 minutes to make what, on the face of it, is a very simple decision.
It's not just in England, by the way,
No,
Craig.
I
Obviously, you covered, didn't you, Barcelona yesterday, where we were given a dodgy penalty. They couldn't check it in VAR because VAR was broken. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid drew against Alaves.